Welcome to the Claim Your Day podcast. Here, it's all about taking full advantage of the time we have today and becoming intentional with our actions so we each can have the impact we want. If you want to stop drifting through life and start directing your life, and you're open to a short podcast from someone who's working at the exact same thing, then welcome. You're in the right place, my friend. Hi, I'm your host, Nick Mazey. To respect your time and so you can claim your day, let's dive right in. Well, hello, my friend, and welcome. Welcome to the Claim Your Day podcast. Glad you're here and joining in today. We're all about making today count. It's a great thing that you're here and joining in. And this is episode 26 of the Claim Your Day podcast. And we're going to talk about today's, building your foundation, how you're building your foundation for your days, and your life and what that is. Now, let's say 26 episodes in, we're kind of laying a little bit of a foundation for this new podcast. And I'm going to make it a habit. I'm going to make it a habit of creating these for you so that you can listen to them, check out, see what makes the most sense for you to implement in your life so that you can guide your life to go where you want it to go, live according to your values, honoring your life, your family, your values, and the things that are most important to you. This podcast is here, and so I'm going to make sure that I'm showing up for you to help you to do that. And as you're laying your foundation, for your days, your weeks, your months, your life, then what's going to help you to do that is the habits that you do on a regular basis. What are the habits? It's easy. It's so easy to underestimate the impact that some small, simple habits might be having on your life. But the thing about those habits is they end up shaping our lives. Whether we want to admit it or not, it's those small things that we do on a regular basis that ends up making up our lives. And especially when we start repeating them day in, day out. That consistency is huge. Yes, we talk about consistency when we're talking about good things. It's those consistently taking steps, helps you to make progress. But also when you're consistently doing something, seemingly insignificant, it ends up shaping your life. It ends up being who you are based on, what you're doing. So with that, we're starting to think about we can't underestimate the power of these small habits. They are important, even when sometimes the smaller they are, the more important they are. Because the smaller they are means that we might be doing them on a regular basis. Then when they're really, really small, then it's the things that are easy to do, are also the easier things to not do. How seemingly insignificant daily routines can accumulate and they can build. And before you know it, it's just how you are. It's just how you wake up. It's just how you go about your day. It's just how you get things done at work. It's just how you interact when you get home or interact when the kids get home. It's just how you end up wrapping up your day and winding down. Whatever it is, those habits create those daily routines. And before you know it, it's just what you do. And they build on top of each other and they accumulate. So there's these consistent daily habits, they end up being the foundation of a consistent life. Now, if done correctly, I'll say it like that, if done correctly, then they're the foundation for you to live an intentional life. For you to be intentional with how you live means that you've set your daily habits. You've been intentional with those small, seemingly insignificant habits. That leads to you being intentional with your life. Because even if it's only 5 or 10 minutes or 2 minutes, whatever this habit is that you're repeating on a daily basis, when you're repeating that ends up being your life. So if you're not intentional with these habits, then are you really being intentional with your life? Are you claiming your day and make the most of it if you haven't determined what you want your habits to be and you're living those out? So just some points that we're going to talk about today. The first one is that there's the impact of repetition. When we repeat things, it has a lasting impact. It really does. It's the consistency that ends up having a profound impact on our lives. And that means that these small habits really they make permanent. Now, if you want to make some adjustments to these small habits, and that can create the lasting change that you want for your life, if you're being intentional and determining what those habits are. If the habits are just because whatever's the most convenient, the easiest thing to do in the moment, then that might not be the lasting change that you want. That might not be being intentional if, let's just say I don't mess up on some toes here. I would say I'm sorry, but I'm not. That's what this podcast is for. It's not to tell you you're doing something right or wrong. It's just to shine a little bit of light in some areas so that you can choose what's best for you. One of those might be if you hit the snooze button a couple times in the morning. Well, maybe that's just a habit for you. Maybe that's just a habit. Don't email me and tell me that you can't change it. We'll go down a whole rabbit hole on what people can do and can't do and using the word can't as a cop-out. I'm not going down that tangent right now. But maybe you hit a snooze a couple times in the morning, and that's just a habit that you've created. Or maybe it's what they call doom scrolling on social media as you're laying in bed before you go to sleep. Maybe it's having, junk food for lunch, and you're always scrambling, and so you never kind of pack your lunch or prepare your lunch or think about it in advance. So instead, you're just swinging by and grabbing some fast food. I was about to name drop some fast food places that I was going to throw under the bus, but whatever one you're doing, is that the habit? Well, that habit is creating an impact, and there's a huge impact, especially when you repeat it. That one-off time that you only went that one day during that 1 month, that's not the habit. That's not creating this lasting, change or having this profound impact on your life. It's when it becomes a habit that just ends up being how you live. Make sure they're good. Now, if there's a negative habit, I'm not saying you got to cut out every negative thing in your life, but evaluate it. The last episode we talked about, evaluating on a daily basis, what we do, evaluating our days, having that evaluated experience so we can grow and improve in the areas of life that are most important to us. Well, at the end of the day, just evaluate some of those habits, and you can choose if you want to keep them or change them. You get to choose. I'm not telling you that all these things are bad or good, but make sure that what you're choosing is what's most important to you, your life, so that you can be intentional. That's all it is to it. Evaluate it and then decide, because it does have a profound impact when you repeat it over time. All right, so that's kind of point number one, is that there's a huge impact when you repeat things. And the second point is that it's really simple to build habits. It really is. Now, I said simple. I didn't say easy. Sometimes we say, oh, if it's hard, it's bad. If it's easy, it's good. No, we don't believe in any of that here in this podcast episode. Some of the things that are hard to do are the best things that you can do for your life, your family, your goals, your values, and how you want to live. Now, at the same time, starting to build some small, simple habits, it can actually be pretty simple, but it also can actually be somewhat easy. It's definitely doable. And the trick with that is starting really small, making that small adjustment, whatever it is, and being consistent with it. Now, there's a whole thing, and I think on my calendar for the material for this podcast, we'll do a deep dive into habits. Definitely, they've come up in a few different times already. Only 26 episodes in, so we'll do a deeper dive into habits. But I'm just going to break it down for you, really, really easy and simple. Is that just start really small. Add a habit that's important to you, and use cues. Use cues so that you can, kind of get that habit. Like if it's, maybe you hit the snooze button a couple times throughout the day, a couple of times in the morning. And so what you got to do, you might even give, hey, you know what? I'm just going to put my phone across the room, and I'm going to put a big glass of water next to that phone. So when you wake up in the morning, you got to get up, you got to get out of bed, you got to get all the way over there to turn that alarm off. If your alarm's on your phone, this kind of works. Otherwise, we can find out something different. But you put that phone across the room, and when you get up and you turn that alarm off, then you got to drink your glass of water. And boom, by the time you do that, you actually are waking up. Standing up, getting vertical helps kind of get those brain awake chemicals in your body going, the cortisol. Your body starts going through that wake up process. You drink that whole glass of water, and that might be your ticket. But you can make small, simple adjustments to be able to be consistent. Use some cues for what's most important to you, or things that you're already doing to kind of pair them up with your habits, and just start small and be consistent. So that's kind of the second point I want to. So the first one is there's a huge impact when you repeat things. That if you want, and the second one is if you want to change some habits or build some habits, just start small and be consistent, and use cues for whatever else is going on to kind of trigger that habit. And the third thing is that you can stack habits. If you want to really start to build that foundation for your life, to guide it to where you want it to go, you want to be intentional, you want to make the most of your days, then stack habits together, for something that you're already doing. Like maybe you're going to start saying some positive, encouraging things to yourself because you might have some negative self-talk. And say you're like, hey, you know what am I already doing today? Oh, I brush my teeth in the morning. Great. Oh, yeah. Oh, that is great. Hopefully you brush your teeth in the morning. But I'm saying you can stack habits for things that you're already doing. So you're brushing your teeth. And so when you're brushing your teeth, you're going to repeat some positive, encouraging things to yourself. Whatever it is. Or if it's, every morning you already, you get up and you drink a glass of water. And so you're going to do a few stretches after you drink your glass of water because that's something that's important to you. Whatever it is, you can stack those habits on top of each other so that it's easier to start them and to keep them because it's something that you already do on a regular basis. When we're talking about designing and kind of having this foundation for your life and you're adding these habits or you're adjusting the things that you do, again, I want to remind you, always thinking about your values, what's most important to you, your life, your family, your goals, and all that. What's most important to you, and make sure that you're adjusting your routines. You're developing them in a way that's consistent with your values. They align with your values, and they support you to have that intentional life, to guide your life where you want it to go. And that's the huge part about some negative habits is that there is no alignment there. If it's a real negative habit, that means that it doesn't align with your values. It doesn't align with the life that you want to live. It's not supporting you and for you to really claim your day and make the most of it for what's most important to you because those habits are taking you in a different direction. So when we're talking about being intentional with these habits, just thinking about your values. What's most important to you? And then think of some ways that you can just make sure that your routines are aligned with those values. This is your life, my friend. It is the most important thing for you to be able to be intentional, to guide your life where you want it to go, and to live out your values. This is your life. When this day passes, you're not going to get this day back. And the simple routines are it's money. It is so money. These simple routines are what's going to allow you to be intentional with your entire life by the small things you do on a daily basis and that you just repeat consistently. Think about that. If you do one negative habit, and you do it daily, and that's day after day after day, something that's not aligned with your values. Now that's a bummer. That's pretty negative. But think about it. The opposite is 100% true too. If you add in a small, simple habit, maybe reading a Bible verse for the day, or, this is, to be honest, I got off the habit of this for a little bit, but about a week ago, I got back on it, and it feels so good, is that each morning, I have a Bible app, and so I push play on the proverb of the day, and while I'm listening to the proverb, I do some stretches. It's like I stack those two things together. It's so easy. It only takes a few minutes. And yes, I need to do more stretching. And yes, I probably need to be in the Bible more. But getting back on that simple habit is so amazing for me. And it helps my day to start off right. And it's like now it's easier for me to stack more positive habits like that. Yes, I got off track for a little bit, but I got back on it. And that definitely aligns with my values. It's definitely a positive habit that's helping me to start my day off right. But what it did is it took a little bit of evaluation for where I was at, what was going on, and I asked myself, hey, what can I add back in that is aligned with my values? Now, maybe that what I'm doing doesn't work for you. That's fine. It doesn't need to. It doesn't have to. But think about your values and how you can support your values by making a simple adjustment to some of the habits that you have, adding a positive one in. So with that, this is the action step. What's one small habit? Identify one that you can start and look at doing it on a daily basis. And the smaller it is, it's going to make it a whole lot easier to be consistent, and it can help support your values so that you can be intentional and live out the life you want to live. So think about that one small habit. And now, what's one existing habit or one cue that you can link it to? So what's something that's already going on, something that you already do, so either a habit or just a natural life occurrence that happens on a daily basis. Uh, you're leaving for work, you're getting home from work, the kids are getting home, whatever it is, you have breakfast. What's that one cue, that trigger that you can use to link this new habit that you're going to add so that you can link it to, so you know when you do it. It's going to help trigger it. You're going to have that association. I mean, it's going to make it 1,000 times easier. Look, small habits have a profound impact over time. They really do. The habits don't have to be huge for the impact to be huge. It's those small habits, those small things that you do on a regular basis that'll end up making the biggest difference in your life. So just let's be intentional with those small habits. And let's start with one seemingly insignificant, one small habit that's manageable that you can start and continue so that you can be intentional with your life. You can make your days count, my friend. Claim your day. You can make it count. It's so worth it. This is your life, my friend. Make it the best that it can be for you, your life, your family, and your values. All right? That's it for today's episode. Thank you for joining in. Please rate and review this podcast. Just give it a quick rating wherever you're listening to this podcast. It's a huge help through all the podcasts out there to help somebody find it that might be able to get some value out of it too. And hey, if you're listening to it on the website, nickmazy.com, then you can share it with somebody, or while you're there, check out some of the resources I got to help you to live your days intentionally. All right. Here's to you, my friend. Claim your day. Can't wait to talk to you in the next episode. Take care.